Welcome back to the channel. I'm Shango, created from Jamaica. This is ETT, and if it's your first time here, welcome. Now, I'm here to talk about the Sony remote. So it's the Sony RMT DSLR 2. Now, it doesn't have to be a Sony remote. It can be any remote for your camera. This is a very important part of shooting alone. Now, why this is so important when you're shooting content by yourself? You know, all of us are shooting content by ourselves because of the pandemic. Now, what this allows you to do is you can have the camera across the room and you can start and stop the camera. You can take pictures. You can enter the menu, so to speak. So my setup is this. I will have the camera either here, or I'll have the camera across the next side where you're getting the full view of the room. And I would use the remote to control whether the camera is on, off, or taking pictures for a thumbnail. So you have other remotes that help you to turn the camera on and off. Very simple remote, but why this remote is so important is it allows you to enter the menu and all that stuff. So as I said, when you're shooting alone, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you are a filmmaker, whatever it may be, and you're using a camera, whether it be a Sony, a Canon, why would you want to get a remote that allows you those features that you can set up your monitor on the top of your camera, or like how I have it set up, whereas I'm using a teleprompter and kind of looking straight down the lens and seeing myself. You can now control all the menu from the camera with this remote, and you have access to everything: playback, the DISP, which is display, menu, print. You can basically view everything that you can on the camera with this remote. And as I say, you can do it from a distance. So me being in my studio, the camera across the room, or it's there, I don't necessarily have to go over to it to press the record button or take a picture. I can just simply point the remote at it and start the camera, stop the camera, etc. Now, one of the things that I like about the Sony cameras, I don't know if it's like that with Canon or Nikon. I don't have any of these cameras right now, but there's two different sounds when you start to record and when you stop recording, and that is very important, especially if you're in a room and you can hear it. But there's also a light that comes on the camera to tell you that the recording is started. One of the things as filmmaker, content creators, we're always wondering, even when we start the recording, we're always wondering, is it recording? If your monitor doesn't give you that feature where it shows you the recording button, you might not know if it's recording. Again, if you're using the remote and using the menu features, whereas it will be showing exactly what is on the back of the camera, you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about that because you will see what's on the camera at that time. But if you're not using that feature, you're just using where you're just seeing yourself, like, oh, I'm doing it right now, you will hear that sound, and you also see that red light that comes up on the camera to give you a sense of what's going on, whether it's recording, whether it's not. So I believe that you spending a little bit more on a remote that gives you more feature. If you're creating content by yourself, this is a very good and important remote that anyone who is creating content, whether it be by yourself, sometimes even creating content with a person, maybe you need to start the camera. If you put it like way up in the ceiling and doing like a top down, maybe you need to start it and you can't go up there. You have the remote. So this is an important device as it relates to filmmaking or shooting content by yourself. And whether you have Canon, Nikon, almost all cameras should have a remote, and if they don't have a remote, most likely there's a third party who has made a remote for it. So a good device to have. Alright, that's it. So I'm Shango, a creative from Jamaica. This is ETT. Blessings and guidance.